Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we're jumping the latest Eagles news and rumors surrounding last night's very ugly 35-0 loss, including an injury update on Jalen Hurts here in just 1 second. Before we start, though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channels. We keep giving you guys the latest and greatest breaking news regarding everything happening with your Philadelphia Eagles, including updates like we're going to talk about today. Some trade news at the end of the video. Andre Dillard is getting some phone calls. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Make sure you guys are subscribed, though, by going down below and hitting the red subscribe button. I'll jump into the latest Eagles news and rumors following, again, a really rough 35-0 beatdown by the New England Patriots, which people are naturally severely overreacting to. I'll react my reaction here in just a couple of minutes. First, though, the update on Jalen Hurts and the injury, which basically pulled him from the start minutes before he was going to go. I mean, he was going to play as the number one in the preseason game up until game time, and then he said he just didn't feel right, and they tried to bring him out there for warm-ups, and you could tell during warm-ups he wasn't going to be good to go. So, officially, it's a stomach bug, a stomach issue is what they're saying. It's a non-COVID-related issue. Probably, the flu, upset stomach, could have eaten something. It's nothing serious. He did go to the hospital, which turned a lot of heads, even though it was more just precautionary, just to make sure that, it's just going to be all fine and good to go. And we'll read Nick Sirianni's quote here in just 1 second, but this is not expected to be anything serious. I think if this would have been a playoff game, he probably could have gone, but I also want to emphasize he was not going to play a lot. He was only going to play like a series or two, and they would have yanked him. So it's not like he missed out on an entire quarter of starting time. He missed out on 1 or 2 series because, let's be real, he was the better quarterback the entire joint practice week the Eagles have had with the Patriots. The Eagles have seen plenty of good stuff from Hurts. He didn't need to be out there, and holding him back due to this whole stomach bug, not that big of an issue. Here was Nick Sirianni's thoughts on Jalen Hurts. Throw that up on the screen right now. Quote, yeah, he came in. He wasn't feeling great when he came in, so we put him through the pregame warmups, and he wanted to go out there and go through pregame warmups, and he came back in. He still wasn't feeling good. We evaluated him. We said that it wasn't in his best interest to play with what he was feeling. We evaluated him. He's fine now. He's doing okay now. That's why we held him out. He actually went to the hospital to get evaluated for his stomach. Like I said, he came back. Everything's good, and he's going to be okay, end quote. Now, the reason why this stinks is that we had to then watch Joe Flacco and Nick Mullins play last night, and if you watched the game like we all did, I mean, it was a little rough. It's a preseason game, but it was rough. Flacco is a shell of himself. I mean, he is not a legit backup. I mean, he is a legit backup quarterback, but he's not going to be, filling in hopefully anytime soon. And Nick Mullins has been a real disappointment. I thought Nick Mullins was going to come in and really push Flacco for that number 2 job. Mullins been a starter recently with the 49ers. I guess it goes to show that Nick Mullins really benefited from the Kyle Shanahan system, because that seems to be one that props quarterbacks up. Both these quarterbacks, though, are really bad against the New England Patriots. Let's just go to the bright side here. This solidified the fact that Hurts is the starter. This solidified Hurts as the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, because they held him out again, and he didn't play. And once they held him out, they held out the majority of their starters. If you didn't watch the game last night, you saw the box score, you're thinking, man, the Eagles starters got whipped. Hardly any of them played. I mean, Jordan Mailata was one of the few offensive linemen who actually started on the offensive line. Sure, the receivers were out there. They played pretty well, but, there wasn't any Zach Ertz. Dallas Goedert hardly played. Miles Sanders got a couple of carries. I mean, none of these guys were starting, and it goes to show that the Eagles feel very confident what they have in Jalen Hurts, and they want to protect Jalen Hurts as well. I would assume that he's going to get some playing time against the Jets, maybe a series or 2, but this is not a big deal. I think last night is being severely overblown. I'm not worried about it at all. Even though the Eagles got drubbed, they still had opportunities to kick field goals. They didn't have to be shut out. They went for a 4th down a couple of times. It's preseason, guys. Relax on the whole preseason thing. Hurts is the starter. Hurts is the number 1, and all of us should feel very good about that and very solid about that, because I, for one, know, based on everything that we heard this past week, he had a killer week against the Patriots. He was carving up the New England defense in 11-on-11s the entire week and was very clearly the best quarterback on the football field. Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, talked about it, how he was way better than Cam, way better than Mac Jones. So I guess you give credit to Cam and Mac Jones for playing well last night, but against our 2s the entire time and sometimes our 3s, really not that impressive, not a big deal. Let me ask you guys this. Do you want Hurts to play against the New York Jets? Do you need to see him in the final preseason game? I think we get some mixed answers on this. I wouldn't mind a series, but I also wouldn't mind at all if he sat out. I have no need to see Jalen Hurts play. I think he's going to be just fine. If you want to see him play, type Y down below for yes. If you do not, then go ahead and go down below and type N down below for no. All right, we're going to keep going here. Quick shout out to our sponsor for today's video, and of course, the best place for you to go ahead and get your betting on, especially with our Philadelphia Eagles, excuse me, Chatsports.com/Eagles bet is the place to go. BetUS is going to have a great promo code, which is Eagles125, where you get a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up, which is a crazy amount of money to go ahead, put $100 down. Teams are $225 for you to go ahead and get your betting on. Right now, I mean, the Eagles' odds in the NFC East are still bad, and people are saying it's even worse based on a preseason game last night, which is crazy. So get your bets in and win some money. The over-under for Miles Sanders' rushing TDs are like 5.5. The money line's at minus 115, and Sanders got a couple of carries last night. Thought he looked pretty darn good. I mean, the yards per carry is definitely there. And DeVonta Smith is plus 1,400 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. You put $100 down, you can win $1,400 if DeVonta Smith wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. So plenty of great bets that are in your favor. I think the odds are pretty darn good that one of these might hit or some other ones might hit. So go ahead and jump in on the betting game. Chatsports.com/Eagles bet. Use that promo code Eagles125 to get that 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. Now, speaking of DeVonta Smith, he made his debut last night, which is a little bit of a surprise because we had heard that he had been at practice and he had been practicing, but not necessarily fully practicing. He's kind of limited the past couple of days, and yet he was suited up. I mean, the Eagles' Twitter was all about posting all the pictures of his jersey and him in warm-ups. Naturally so. We all want to see what he can do, and he played well, I thought. Now, he had a couple of drops. Now, again, naturally, I mean, that happens. People are going to freak out about it. But his 2 catches looked great. The one on 3rd down and 4 where he had the kind of in and the out, that was absolutely fantastic. And the great news was that in his post-game press conference, he talked about how his knee feels great. They would not have put him out there if they did not think his knee was 100%. So he's clearly good to go. I'd expect him to run with the ones the remainder of the preseason. Whether he plays or not against the Jets is not a big deal. But in terms of practicing, he's going to be back out there, and that is great news for all of us in Eagle land. Now, Smith was asked about his debut and was pretty focused and upset about the 2 drops that he had, which I think this is as a good sign. We'll throw that up on the screen right now. I know what I did wrong. I got to focus on catching the ball. I mean, that's all it is, just taking my eyes away too early. I mean, there's nothing else to it. Those are plays I've got to make. I got to make that plays they expect me to make. I wouldn't call it rust from being sidelined. I would just say I wasn't focusing on catching the ball, trying to look back too fast before I caught the ball. I just go to practice every day to work and get on the jugs machine. Maybe I need to hit the jugs more, end quote. Again, I thought he was fine, a little hard on himself, but it's great to see him out there, and for me, I take away as the injury is not going to be an issue. He's ready to go, obviously, for week 1. I will say this. Travis Fulgham, quickly here on the Eagles depth chart, was playing late in the 3rd or 4th quarter yesterday. He's struggling in training camp and is not looking like the 3rd wide receiver. Quez Watkins is very clearly the 3rd wide receiver, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I don't think Whiteside is making this football team. I mean, he's doing absolutely nothing. Just a quick little thought there on the wide receiver depth chart. But either way, Smith looked good. I'm excited. Much like Jalen Hurts, if he plays in a series next week, that's fine. I mean, I'll be excited about it, but I also have no need to actually see him play because I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. So drop a like down below if you guys were pumped to see Smith make his debut. I think it's fun. It's always exciting when your rookie, your first-round draft pick gets out there. Drop a like for Smith making his first NFL debut against the Patriots in a limited capacity, but still played a couple of series last night. All right, final story here that broke a couple of days ago. I wanted to follow up on this one, and that is the Andre Dillard trade update. We've talked about this a lot here on the channel, that Philadelphia might receive phone calls because Jordan Mailata is very clearly the number 1 left tackle, and sure enough, the Philadelphia Inquirer's Jeff McClain is reporting that the Eagles have received calls about Andre Dillard before he hurt his knee, as he's currently out with a right knee injury, not a long-term one, but still, he's not been playing or practicing. And with Mailata being the clear number 1, you figure that some team eventually is going to make a trade, you would think, for Andre Dillard. Now, does that mean it's guaranteed? No, but I think there's definitely a possibility here. And we've talked about this a lot over the past couple of weeks. Here's Jeff McClain's quick write-up on this. Again, not saying anything special, but stuff that makes sense. Quote, but even before Dillard strained his right knee last week, it was clear that Jordan Mailata had a firm grasp on the position. The word has increasingly gotten around around the NFL as teams, directly or not, inquired about Dillard's availability per league sources. So teams are calling, and there are some teams out there that could use a left tackle. The Steelers might be one of them. It's been thrown out there a little bit, but essentially, someone I think is going to eventually make an offer, and the question is, will the offer be good enough for Philadelphia to take? Because Dillard's a great backup, right? I mean, if Mailata were to get hurt, the backups that you saw in there, these are offensive line, I think the backup struggled last night, but I think that you would feel good about having Dillard back there. Much like, when Jason Peters went out in the Super Bowl run, they had Halapulviati Vaitai, get the name right, come in, and he filled in pretty admirably. So they might just want to keep him as a depth guy, but at the same time, if someone gives you a 3rd, 4th-round draft pick, I mean, I know he's a former 1st-round draft pick, but you're not going to get a lot for him. So if you get the right offer, I would definitely go ahead and take a listen and probably make a move to go ahead and give Dillard the fresh start, because Mailata's great. He's the future, and he was the one real starter playing out there for a little bit of time, and he looked pretty darn good. All right, ultimate for today here on this edition of Philadelphia Eagles Now. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channels. We got plenty more news and stuff coming up in the following days and weeks. So it's August 20th. Like, we are getting so close to the start of the NFL season, almost half a month away. And so stay tuned for all the great coverage, as we're going to keep you guys up to date on everything that happens, right? If trade were to happen, if Hurts' injury were to be more significant than originally said so, I mean, we got you guys covered here on the channel. So go down below and hit that red subscribe button. All right, ultimate for the day here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm your host, Thomas Mott. We go ahead and sign off. Stay safe out there, and it's the weekend, so enjoy your weekend.